In today's session, I'm going to discuss 6 most important short answer questions from Macbeth Act 1, Scene 2. This is a one-shot video. Question 1. Who is the bloody man and what does he tell King Duncan about the newest state of the rebellion? Newest state of the rebellion, इसका मतलब क्या है? The latest developments of the rebellion. In Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth, the bloody man is the bleeding sergeant. I have already underlined the important words and expressions. Who is coming from the battlefield? ये जो sergeant है, वो wounded थे and he was coming from the battlefield. He is wounded and like a faithful and brave soldier, he fought to save Malcolm from being taken a prisoner. Malcolm addresses him as brave friend. A quotation. So, description of the bloody man. After this, what does he tell King Duncan about the newest state of the rebellion? The sergeant describes the unsettled nature of the battlefield. Battle खत्म होने से पहले ही sergeant वहां से चले आए थे, इसीलिए उनको ठीक से पूरा आउटकम पता नहीं था, मगर जब तक वो बैटलफील्ड में थे, आउटकम was not clear. Unsettled nature of the battle is important. Doubtful it stood. Who would be victorious? कौन जीतेगा? Each side was trying to annihilate the other. Each side was trying to defeat the other, crush the other. They were fighting really fiercely. The two sides could be compared to two spent swimmers. Another quotation. Who completely exhausted hold on to each other and make it impossible for either to swim. अपने आंसर में इस कंपैरिजन को जरूर मेंशन कर देना. और क्या इन्होंने कहा किंग डंकन से? He then informs King Duncan about the vicious nature, about the evil nature of the merciless MacDonald. How he had been reinforced by kerns and gallowglasses from Ireland. Despite being favored by fortune initially, पहले तो ये लग रहा था कि मैकडॉनल्ड ही बैटल जीतेगा, रिबेलियन सक्सेसफुली जीत पाएगा, मगर बाद में क्या पता चला? He was unable to stand against Macbeth. मैकबेथ के सामने मैकडॉनल्ड कुछ नहीं कर पाया, टिक नहीं पाया. After a gory confrontation, गोरी का क्या मतलब है? Bloody. Confrontation, after a bloody encounter, Macbeth beheaded the rebel slave. MacDonald, referred to as a rebel and also as a slave, and hung the head upon our battlements. Look how I have used textual references in order to answer this question, and I have also used small quotations, shorter quotations. The King of Norway, who launched Launchd, who launched a fresh assault, was ruthlessly crushed by Macbeth and Banquo. सर्जेंट ने किंग नॉर्वे के बारे में भी किंग डंकन को बताया. कैसे किंग डंकन, कैसे किंग ऑफ नॉर्वे को मैकबेथ ने डिफीट किया था. Thus, a conclusion. The bleeding captain gives a graphic description of bloodshed, violence, traitors, and glorifies the two Scottish captains. Two Scottish captains कौन है? Macbeth and Banquo. And this is a critical comment. Always include a critical comment in your answer. So what is the ideal length of such 5 marks answer? Well, I would suggest a single page is enough, but that will also depend on the particular question available. Read the question, जो भी question आएगा, और उसके मुताबिक तुम अपना जो आंसर है वो फ्रेम कर लेना. The length will vary. Question 2. How does King Duncan react to the victory? Reaction क्या था King Duncan का? React to the victory, number 1, and the news of the Thane of Cawdor's betrayal, number 2. You will have to answer both these questions. And who informs him of this betrayal and treachery? In Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth, King Duncan comes to know about the victory of the Scottish troops and also the news of Corder's betrayal. उनको ये दोनों चीज पता चल गया. He is overjoyed. First reaction, he is overjoyed and says great happiness. Overjoyed reaction, and I have used a supporting textual reference, a quotation, in order to strengthen my point, in order to justify my statement. He is overjoyed and says great happiness when he learns that the victory fell on them. Another quotation. Look how I am using quotations in order to write my answer. So this is all about the victory, his reaction to the victory, and then his reaction to the news of the Thane of Corder's betrayal. Let's see. But he is furious. पहले वो overjoyed थे and then he became furious, angry. But he is furious to know about the Thane of Corder's treachery. जब उनको Thane of Corder के treachery के बारे में पता चला, विश्वासघात के बारे में पता चला, वो बहुत गुस्से में थे. He angrily and sternly, बहुत strictly, उन्होंने क्या announce किया? Announces that the traitor will not be allowed to again abuse his affectionate trust and deceive them. ये फिर से इस मिस्टेक को दोहराया नहीं जाएगा. किंग डंकन अब थेन ऑफ कॉर्डर को माफ नहीं करेंगे. And in this way, the Thane of Corder will not be able to deceive King Duncan and the Scottish people and the people of Scotland. He orders his present death. He also orders, reaction में ये सारी चीजें भी include करना जरूरी है. He orders his present death. Present death का क्या मतलब है? Immediate execution. And Macbeth henceforth will be the new Thane of Corder. This is his reaction. And who informs him of this betrayal and treachery? Ross, a nobleman of Scotland, has come from Fife and informs King Duncan how the Thane of Corder proved to be the most disloyal traitor. A very important quotation. When he assisted the King of Norway to launch a dismal conflict against the Scottish army. So, after this, the conclusion. Let's read the conclusion. Thus, King Duncan orders Ross to carry out his orders. He observes, what he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won. This quotation again is important. This is how he reacts in two different ways. Macbeth के लिए King Duncan खुश थे और Thane of Corder के लिए King Duncan खुश नहीं थे. In fact, वो बहुत गुस्से में थे. वो Thane of Corder को माफ नहीं करेंगे. This is question number 2. Answer number 2. Again, just one page. After this, moving on to question number 3 very quickly. In what ways does this scene, Act 1, Scene 2, set up the character of Macbeth? Character of Macbeth is built how in this scene, and his eventual rise to power. In what ways? So answer according to the question. सारे answers में summary मत लिख के आ जाना. जो question है, read the question and write accordingly. So in what ways does this scene set up the character of Macbeth? The introduction is going to be crucial. The best side of Macbeth is revealed in Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth. Very, very important. The best side of Macbeth. Character कैसे build होता है? Introduction में, play के beginning में, Shakespeare Macbeth को best possible way में दिखाते हैं. The best side of Macbeth is revealed in Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth. His heroism, number 1, and his military skill, number 2. The bleeding sergeant informs, कैसे, in what ways is this image of Macbeth built? The bleeding sergeant informs King Duncan that Macbeth truly deserved that name. That name का मतलब the title or epithet brave. Brave Macbeth. And this quotation again is very, very important. Throughout the scene, Macbeth is addressed as Valour's minion by the sergeant, Bellona's bridegroom by Ross. In this way, they appreciate Macbeth and his courage and bravery. So, this is one way in which the image is built up, set up. And this will show his eventual rise to power. After this, change the paragraph, the second paragraph, the graphic descriptions, the vivid descriptions of the newest state of the rebellion and Macbeth's bravery at the battlefield provided by the Sergeant Ross set up the character of Macbeth. Ross फिर सर्जेंट ने जैसे मैकबेथ के बारे में किंग डंकन को कहा, जैसे बैटल का डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया, इससे कैरेक्टर ऑफ मैकबेथ को बिल्ड करने में बहुत हेल्प हुआ. Waving his sword in his hand, Macbeth confronted the rebel MacDonald and beheaded him. This is a description of the battle. And see how Macbeth's heroism is highlighted here. Crushing the rebellion, heroism of Macbeth. Later, Macbeth again played a crucial role in striking the Norwegian troops with redoubled energy. Heroism of Macbeth once again. Ross confirms Macbeth's bravery to emerge victorious over the King of Norway and King Duncan's words, King Duncan's appreciation. Valiant cousin, oh valiant cousin, worthy gentleman, remember? These words is a prelude to his eventual rise to power. इसके बाद हम देखेंगे Macbeth, how Macbeth rises to power. So this is a prelude. So these are the ways in which the image of Macbeth is built up gradually. Thus, when the king says, again the same quotation, very important, what he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won. When the king says the audience is prepared for a greater honor, Macbeth's eventual rise to power, the Thainship of Cawdor, he will soon become the new Thane of Cawdor. So this is his rise to power. Here, his loyalty is compared with the disloyalty of MacDonald and the Thane of Cawdor. And in this way, by this comparison, contrast, William Shakespeare has highlighted the heroism of Macbeth and his eventual rise to power. This is the conclusion. Conclusion में मैंने critical comment mention किया है और मिडिल में भी बहुत सारे critical comments मैंने छोटे छोटे डाले हैं. So in this way, you must frame your answers. Again, roughly 1 page for a 5 marks short question answer. Quickly, question 4, very important. What is the significance of the victory over the Norwegians and the Thane of Cawdor's betrayal? Similar question to some extent, but the answer will be different. What is the significance? Significance क्या है? Description नहीं चाहिए यहाँ पे, summary नहीं चाहिए. Significance क्या है इस victory के over the Norwegians and also the Thane of Cawdor's betrayal? Let's analyze. In Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth, the victory of the Scottish troops over the Norwegians and the betrayal of the Thane of Cawdor are two very crucial aspects of the plot of the play. These are two crucial, important episodes of the play. How are they important? What is the significance? Macbeth, lapped in proof, quotation, confronted the King of Norway point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing the latter's lavish spirit. Quotations are used here. This establishes the heroism and military skill of brave Macbeth. Just like the previous answer, I am using the same words and expressions and the quotations. So prepare your answers in such a way. Reference material same hoga, magar your approach to a question will vary, will be different. So यहाँ पे significance क्या है? Establishment of the heroism and military skill of brave Macbeth. His victory over the Norwegians. Banquo's bravery is also evident when the two captains retaliated against the Norwegians for launching a fresh assault. सिर्फ मैकबेथ के बारे में ही हमें यहाँ से पता नहीं चल रहा है, बैंको के बारे में भी ब्रीफली कहा गया है. बैंको ने भी बहुत करेज के साथ द नॉर्वेजियंस के अगेंस्ट फाइट किया था. सो बैंको's bravery is also evident. After this, its significance lies in the glorification of Macbeth and Banquo even before they enter the stage. Banquo and Macbeth have not yet entered the stage, but the playwright William Shakespeare has already built up an image. Macbeth and Banquo even before they enter on stage. So this is the critical comment. Significance finished. Victory का significance हो गया है. अब हम Thane of Cawdor के बारे में बात करेंगे. The Thane of Cawdor assisted the King of Norway and Macbeth crushed him also. King Duncan is betrayed and he makes the brave Macbeth the new Thane of Cawdor. This is significant. Cawdor's treachery and King Duncan's trust in Macbeth is an instance of dramatic irony. Very, very important. Cawdor's treachery and King Duncan's trust in Macbeth, Macbeth's apparent loyalty to Duncan, instance of dramatic irony. Do check the easy explanation video for a detailed analysis of the dramatic irony in Macbeth. This is another significance. When the king says, again the same quotation, what he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won. When the king says, he is ironically replacing one traitor with a worse traitor. Give reasons में मैंने ये discuss किया था. Very important. Clarify this concept. He is replacing one traitor. Thane of Cawdor को उन्होंने replace किया Macbeth से, और Macbeth will prove to be a worse traitor. Macbeth will later commit regicide, will kill the king. So Thane of Cawdor ने तो betray किया था, मगर King Duncan को कौन मारेगा? King Duncan को assassinate कौन करेंगे? Macbeth करेंगे. This also refers to Macbeth's eventual rise to power and ultimately his downfall. So this is thus a case of dramatic irony. Finally, the victory quotation establishes the supremacy of the Scottish army. This is again significant. So dear students, here I have given a number of important features of the victory over the Norwegians and the Thane of Cawdor's betrayal. Quickly, हम देख लेते हैं क्या क्या मैंने लिखा. Number 1, brave Macbeth. Number 2, image of Banquo. After that, we have Thane of Cawdor, instance of dramatic irony, and we also have Macbeth's eventual rise to power and his downfall, and the supremacy of the Scottish army. So 5 points मैंने यहाँ पे mention किया है. After this, moving on to the next question. It's question number 5. What is the mood and tone of Ross and Angus when they enter? and what news do they bring? In Act 1, Scene 2. Act 1, Scene 2 में एंगस भी एंटर करते हैं स्टेज पे, मगर उनका यहाँ पे ज्यादा कुछ डायलॉग्स नहीं है. In Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth, the arrival of Ross and Angus is marked by a sense of urgency, very important, and haste. Mention this in your answer. Mood, कैसा mood था, tone कैसा था? There was a sense of urgency and haste. In fact, Malcolm states that the expression in Ross's eye suggests a haste. Quotation, only a person with strange things to report looks like this, and their tone is grave and somber. Very serious. So mood and tone. Finished in the introduction itself. And now I'll justify with the help of textual reference. Ross is angry. Mood. गुस्से में है रॉस. किससे वो इतने गुस्से में है? With the Thane of Cawdor, and accuses him of being that most disloyal traitor. I have already told you to learn this quotation. He is eager to inform. वो King Duncan को inform करना चाहते हैं. Inform the King of Scotland, King Duncan, of the latest development of the battle. He has come from Fife and he wants to tell everything to King Duncan. He is filled with a sense of relief and pride when he narrates how Macbeth's heroism and military skill led to the victory. So, on one hand, he is angry with the Thane of Cawdor, and on the other hand, he is also filled with a sense of relief and pride. वो बहुत proud feel कर रहे थे Macbeth ने जैसे victory. Macbeth emerged victorious, and how Macbeth crushed the Thane of Cawdor and also the King of Norway. So when he speaks of the defeated King of Norway, willing composition, when he speaks of the defeated King of Norway's willing composition, वो एक peace treaty sign करना चाहते थे King of Norway. Ross is proud of being a Scottish nobleman and belittles the defeated king. The tone and mood includes therefore anger, hurry, fear, pride, happiness, and also disgust. A mixture of emotions. After this, the conclusion. Ross and Angus thus bring news from Fife, their victory over the Norwegians and the treachery of the Thane of Cawdor, as well as the bravery of Macbeth. Scotland will not sign a peace treaty. So what do they tell? What do they tell? What news do they bring? They bring news from Fife, their victory over the Norwegians, treachery के बारे में उन्होंने बात किया. रॉस ने इन्फॉर्म किया किंग डंकन को. मैकबेथ के ब्रेवरी के बारे में भी उन्होंने कहा. Scotland will not sign a peace treaty with Norway, and the former will demand a compensation of $10,000. So this is the conclusion. I have answered all the subparts and always change paragraphs. And the last question is from Morning Star workbook. Let's read it very quickly. Explain any two extended similes used by the sergeant in Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth, the danger to Scotland and the heroism of Macbeth. Here also I'll have to highlight two similes. One, indicating the danger to Scotland, and number two, indicating heroism of Macbeth. In Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth, the bloody sergeant uses extended similes to bring out the danger to Scotland and the heroism of Macbeth. Direct question से ही मैंने introductory जो statement है उसको frame कर दिया है. I told you in the previous session how to use words from the question. After this, what is the purpose of such extended similes? Extended similes often run to several lines to intensify the heroic stature of the subject. This is one purpose. And here, Macbeth is glorified, heroic stature. And the troubled state of Scotland, the turmoil, is set as a befitting context. कॉन्टेक्स्ट इतना डेंजरस है, इसीलिए मैकबेथ को यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छी तरीके से ग्लोरीफाई भी किया जा रहा है. And how? What are the extended similes? Number 1, like Valor's minion, Macbeth forced his way through the soldiers, Irish kerns and gallowglasses, and came face to face with the merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel. Then, without shaking hands with the slave or bidding him farewell, Macbeth killed him. Macbeth, like a favorite, this is a simile of the goddess Valor, crushed the rebellion. So this is the extended simile. After this, see, I have already put up the text. It's there on the screen. Just go through the sections. In the very east, where the bright and comforting sun rises, furious storms rise to destroy ships on the sea. Similarly, from the very place from where comfort seemed to come, now discomfort swells. Quotation: no sooner Macbeth put the kerns to flight, the king of Norway launched a fresh assault. Thus, the sergeant gives King Duncan the newest state of the rebellion by using 2 extended similes. This is the conclusion. So here are the 6 answers.